Okay, let's call this meeting to order. It is Monday, January 20th. Hello, everybody. We haven't gone yet. This is kind of fun. And just welcome to everybody. I just introduced myself to Roger Mullendorf. He's on the Parks Board, and he's here today to just observe.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have two guests with us today. We have Sue Bug and John Trapp, and they're under new business. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through, if that's okay with everybody, and of course Mike, sorry, excuse me, and the mayor, sorry, excuse me. What I thought we'd do is go through the action items first and get that housekeeping stuff done, and then we're going to run right down to new business. So these guys don't have to stick around for the whole meeting, unless, of course, they're fascinated and want to stay. Okay? So, do we have a volunteer to be secretary in January? Oh, my God, come on, guys.
I'll do it.
Oh, you are doing, thank you very much.
I was about to break down. Caveat, if I could read my own notes afterwards.
staring at Joy.
Thanks, Joy. Okay, the December minutes came out, well, anyway, we did print them. Any additions or corrections that anybody has for those? Did you have a chance to look them over?
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Okay, can we have a motion to approve?
I do.
Second?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do we have anybody online? Oh, Alan's on. Hey, Alan, did you happen to get the minutes?
Hey, Corey, yes, and they all looked good, thank you.
Okay, perfect, thank you very much. Okay, let's skip right down to new business if we could. Thanks, everybody. We have a couple of different things, and the first one is the fire department's solar request. So we've got John Trapp from the fire department, and if you'll just give us a rundown of what you have in mind.
Sure. So the fire department currently has solar. There's 18 panels on the roof, but they're over 20 years old.
Wow.
And so, as you know, those older solar panels, they're like the 110 watt panels. And then of that era, they lose efficiency quite a bit as they age. So they're much less than that capacity now. Originally, we were utilizing that system to help with like opening because we have those big bay doors that it's not as easy as your own garage where you just lift up the door. So just making sure our garage door is open and we have emergency lighting and emergency heating in the station. It is plugged, currently connected to the grid, but it produces far less than what we utilize. Especially as the station has grown over the years and the capacity and the meetings and the training, all the things that happen in the station. So our battery system is the old AGM batteries, and they are dead. They're not holding a charge at all anymore. And we're not sure how much the system is actually bringing in. The control system that's in there is also very aged. So we've been looking at a spectrum of trying to get the system up and running again. We heard the good work that you all are doing here, so thought we could say, hey, what's going on? What can we do? Because it ranges from just replacing the batteries with lithium-ion batteries, which have their own cost, somewhere around, I think, about $11,000 just to do the batteries, but then your control unit and the solar panels are all on their last leg anyway. And then you can kind of step up from there, and we had Yellow Ball come and give an estimate, and we had A-Team come in and give an estimate, and then I sent some of that to Alan to look at. But I think ideally we would get to a place where we are producing, electricity, paying for the bill, and putting electricity back into the grid, and that would involve at least 60 solar panels on the roof of the new ones that are around 400 watt capacity, and a modular system that manages the load and the charging of the batteries. So that system is, approaching, I don't remember how much that one, Alan, do you remember? 100,000?
You told me 100.
Yeah. So, that's the spectrum, that we're looking at, and then the in-between or lesser would be just to replace the solar panels that we currently have, one for one, but, that would not get us up to where we would be kind of utilizing the best efficiency of the solar system. So, that's what we're looking at. Alan has has made contact with the DEQ, and there's a potential, a grant opportunity that we're waiting to see if they have, the funding. They should be finding out, in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
But, okay. Go ahead, Alan.
Sure. Yeah. So this is this potential grant source is one that we're very familiar with as a city, the Montana DEQ. If timing had been a little bit different, like if we been aware of this, it did actually cross my mind to reach out to you guys because I saw the solar panels, but like back in August or something, it could be totally different because at that point in time we would have been the only ones in the state interested in this. But as it turned out, the other programs have asked for those funds, which had been languishing for about a year and a half. And so, yeah, just as John mentioned, the plan is to, in a couple of weeks, have a calendar note to reach out back to Kyla at the DEQ and ask how their allocations are going. And John, I think it's great that there's, sort of a bit of a spectrum in terms of what could happen in terms of implementing those funds at the fire department. 60 grand at a one-for-one exchange versus let's just make ourselves, as I understand it, completely energy self-sufficient, which would be about $100,000. And once the DEQ has decided what they're going to allocate the vast majority of their $1.4 million of earmarked funds, we're going to say, or my plan is to say, if you have, call it $100,000 of change, we have an immediate use for it. And the billing, the points that I tried to communicate to her with that is that this would be like a turnkey system. We already have the panels on the roof in place, which are going to get exchanged because they're so old, plus the batteries. And so we already know that such a system will work, and we already have a place for those stuff. And I am hopeful that she will look upon this project with favor. So I'll keep you guys tuned up in the updates, and it should be within like about a month or so time frame based on what Kyla at the DEQ indicated.
Oh, wow, super,
Oh,
Alan, thank you.
Thanks.
The only, when John and I talked about this earlier, we usually get our grants through Northwest Energy, or they've been very, very generous with grants here, in Red Lodge. But this was a Northwest Energy grant initially, and Northwest does not re-up the same project.
Okay.
And,
Got it.
so
Another
this is another funding source that, Alan found, so yay, let's, fingers crossed, okay? Awesome, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. He's on charge, he's on top of it.
Great.
And you're in
No,
touch
that's
with
exciting.
Alan?
Yes, I'm in touch with Alan. We've been emailing and we've talked on the phone, so, let's see. Where's the camera?
Behind you.
And good to meet you, Sharon. Yeah, hey, good to know you.
Were two estimates comparable?
Yeah, they're on this, kind of the same range, because we were looking at, actually, 3 to 4 different options. So, one of this lower options enables a system that, like I said, is modular. So if we can only start with 16 panels, and in the future we can get funding for more, you can add, and the system is capable of just, they just keep adding to the storage system. Yeah, that's the one that A-Team recommended.
Okay,
Yeah.
if we can't do the full
Right.
spectrum,
Yeah.
okay.
Super.
Because they had contacted us, right, 18?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I put them in charge with,
Sue.
Sue Butte and the, Community Solar, which is a great segue for the next item on our new business, unless you have anything else to say.
No, thank you for having me, and
No,
thanks for the good work you're doing.
We
that's
are,
exciting. Let's hope that.
yep, we'll just keep in touch about this.
And Alan too.
Yeah.
It-
Thanks, John.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. So this is not zoning.
Thank you, and we got a great roof for it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considered a city
Yeah.
department.
Well, it is kind of. The fire department,
I mean, we don't have to ask the city council to approve something.
well, I think it's probably a good idea. Where's the mayor?
You just want to speak to.
He just exited stage.
Okay, well,
John,
again, that is a good question,
Yeah.
is do we go through, the city council for this? Since I'm not sure if there'll be a city loan to the fire department. Maybe
No.
you know, Mike.
No,
I don't have any, I'm not
or
sure.
it's just gonna be a fire department,
probably-
yeah.
A grant.
I think it'll probably still go through the city council like any other grant,
Because the fire department is kind of,
yeah. So,
supported by the city and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
so, yeah, so we'll have to, yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
that's down the line, but we should let Public Works know that this is in the works. Anyway, okay. In the works.
And he knows.
Yeah, and it's-
He works, no.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's great that they can just add if we
Yeah.
can get the money.
And everything's
Yeah, the four
just
different
set to go
options
and-
were, replacing the current batteries for 11,000, replacing / new batteries with a modular expendable, blah, 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 for 25,000, replace batteries and controllers and current panels, 16,000, and you can add more panels later, 50,000, and then do the whole shebang for 100,000.
Now, if they go for the full 100,000 and become self-sufficient, are they still fitting into the grid and then just using the battery for emergency?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
Okay, okay. All right.
That sounds amazing.
I know, it's really exciting.
Very
Oh,
exciting.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
it's pretty easy.
speaking
Lots money
of
available.
community
Solar.
solar,
Yeah.
Sue here is from Carbon County Resource Council, and she's gonna tell us about the, community solar project that, you guys are doing, of course, in conjunction with Northern Plains
Northern Plains.
Resource Council.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, it's an idea at this point.
Okay, and I gave you a copy of my comments here, just so you have it for reference.
Thank you.
I just fight with
Great.
my front printer a bit, but I just said earlier, it was saying, no, you can't, and I'm saying, yes, you are. There's different ways that you can have community solar. One is the utility, Northwest Energy or MDU would say, sure, you want to have a community solar, that's great. We'll help you put this together, we'll run it through our billing system, et cetera, et cetera.
That's probably not gonna go that way.
That, and your utility system includes co-ops. And co-ops are, Fairfield Electric has, one, and they don't seem to have too much of an issue as far as, crediting people and making it work. They can do it because they're an independent utility, and they are consumer-owned. They are owned by the people who get their electricity. They're governed by them. They're not under the PSC,
Right.
which Northwestern MDU are, which is one of the reasons that a lot of the rules that apply to them don't apply to us, under Fairfield Electric. The other one is, subscriber organizations. The subscriber organization is the operator of the community solar array and is responsible for supporting participants and the 40% share of the solar energy to the utility. And the utility can also be a subscriber organization or a third party dedicated to operating a community solar program can be a subscriber organization.
Oh.
There is a caveat to that, and as I go on later to say, is the fact that there's something in Montana code about where the electricity is produced goes through their meter and can only be given credit to that person. You can't have a large solar array, and because you have a great south-facing roof, you put on a solar array and 3 of your neighbors all go in on it, and you give it to all 3 of them. You can't do that.
Okay, yeah.
And,
In Montana, whether it's a co-op or not, is that a Montana rule?
yeah,
Okay.
that's a Montana thing. And there's also something that I still, because Corey got to me on Friday, and today's a holiday, and I couldn't get a hold of people in Northern Plains to get out all the information. There's also something about that the utility has to say that it's okay to do this as of now. But there is a draft bill that, the Clean Energy Task Force is sponsoring and supporting. This put in by Representative Pope, and the legislative number there is for your reference. It is not yet been printed in draft form. I just checked today, and it's not yet in draft form. It's probably going to be weeks or maybe even next month before it's presented.
So this number is irrelevant that you've got.
Well, no, that's what the draft number will be.
Oh, okay,
That will reference, it's submitted and hasn't gone through the process
got
yet,
it.
so it's not printed up.
Okay.
The idea is there. It's being drafted, but it hasn't been drafted, so there is nothing that says exactly what it is. But this will give, communities and organizations the ability to do this without going through the MDU or Northwestern. That's what we have to get through. This was also something that went through the last legislature, had bipartisan support, and for some reason died in committee. It went towards, it was, as I remember, towards the end of the legislative session, and whether there was just so many things going on and bills, it just died in committee and never got out of committee. But we feel that there's enough support for it that, we should be able to get it through. But it's really important for groups like this to get on board with this. And Corey, I'll send you, there's a website that you can sign on to in support of this bill.
and I'll get that out to everybody else too.
Yeah.
I got it from Northern Plains. but-
Yeah, good.
Mhm.
And therefore, you know, anytime that this comes up, if you don't know how to get a hold of your legislature, if you aren't Northern Plains members, I encourage you to become Northern Plains members, because you can go on their website, they will send out alerts. You can call your legislator, call the committee, send letters,
Email.
be there in person. You know, if that was something that somebody from this committee would be able to do, when that came up in committee, to say, this is something we really want to do in Red Lodge, and our sustainability board is really looking at doing this, I think that would be very impactful for you guys to do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions that, even if I may not be able to answer now, I can find out answers for you?
So I'm not a member of, Northern Plains, but I am a member of Carbon County. Is that
You
the
are a
same
member
thing?
of Northern Plains.
Okay, so that's the
If
same
you
thing.
are a member of CCRC, you are
Okay.
a member of Northern Plains.
Okay. So your recommendation is, I'm gonna paraphrase here for a second, but, you know, keep an eye on this draft bill.
Right, and I'll get information out
Yeah.
to you, Corey.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
If
we
I-
can get alerts
Yeah.
and what's going on, so we can contact
Yeah.
our legislators or the legislators that are in
that committee.
on that committee, okay? And, it would be nice to have someone kind of a point person on this
Yeah,
from the Sustainability Board.
yeah.
Is there anybody who would be willing to be a point person on this to just kind of eyeball, keep track of this and let us all know? I mean, we can all do this, but it'd be nice if,
Yep,
If-
I would.
would you do that, Julie?
I would.
You said it does not have an LC number yet?
Yes, it is. Well,
It
it's a
does
draft.
have LC. It's
Oh, yeah, we have it here.
LC 2789.
And I guess,
So I'll be happy to follow that.
And Julie, if you're gonna do that,
Mm-hmm.
let's keep in touch with each other and
Yeah.
I'll try to keep on top of it and.
Yeah,
and
this would certainly be the simplest way to move
Yeah.
forward with community solar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really think it would be impactful if somebody
Yeah.
from the city and building board could be there in person.
Yeah.
At least be there on Zoom, but if you could be there in
Yeah, in
person
person.
for this committee, I think it would be very helpful.
so I'm wondering, do we need to have any sort of motion as far as, if Julie is there on behalf of the Sustainability Board, could she say she's speaking for us? Is that okay with?
do
Can
we
I
need-
also clarify, so when, if, you're saying to go to the legislator and pay it, or is it this Northern Plains meeting?
No, to legislature,
Legislator.
when it becomes up to.
It's not even in, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that my only caveat on that would be, it's hard to support something that's not written yet. And so,
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you're, if you're saying that you're, you're,
I'm just keeping in communication at this point, yeah.
Okay.
Right, right. But I think we probably, if we were going to be there representing the Sustainability Board, which is the city, wouldn't council need
If
to
it's
know?
anything that would obligate the city, we'd certainly want to have council approve it, but I think,
What do you mean by obligate? I mean
like,
monetarily?
we have to write a check, yeah.
Okay, that's
And I-
what
and I
you
don't-
mean
I don't-
by
yeah.
obligation.
And so to say we're in favor of it, I don't think is problematic.
Okay,
It just so you know, Mike just got back from one today, he drove back from Helena today, just so you know, it's a 6-hour drive in 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the spotlight.
Exactly.
So.
Oh.
I get about 5.
Whew.
okay, well, let's
Yeah,
just,
we'll keep following
let's
that.
just keep this on our radar because, this is something that's really exciting.
This is exciting, this is very exciting. yeah.
know.
DEQ also has a survey out about clean energy
Right,
that we can all take.
right. It's on Northern Plains.
Yeah.
You sent me that survey. Do I fill that out as an individual?
Yes.
Or would you like it on behalf of the Sustainability Board?
I think it has several different,
Or I just could say
Yeah.
Sustainability Board member. Maybe that's the route we should go at this point. And then other people could do that, the
Mhm.
same thing.
I think I've taken it as an
Okay.
individual
Yeah,
already, so,
yeah, I was just
Did
gonna
you get
check
it?
with you
I
guys and,
think so, I haven't
Okay.
opened it up yet, but.
I was gonna check with you guys and say, if you think that's something we should do as individuals too. Because I haven't filled
Yeah.
it out yet, but I wanted to make sure if I put down
Mhm.
Sustainability Board member,
Right.
that, it would be okay with you.
Yeah, it would probably be good, I
Yeah,
think, if we all
I think
did
that
that,
would
yeah.
Okay,
since
do
we're
that
not
too, yeah.
obligating
no,
Red
it's
Lodge
just
to
a
do
survey.
anything, yeah.
Yeah,
What do you
Okay.
think about?
Mhm.
okay,
Mhm.
What do you
okay,
think is important
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
with this, order of preference?
So anything else you can tell us about this? It's not gonna come up probably right away because
Right.
they're getting all the goofy stuff out of the way
Yeah.
first.
Right.
Do we know who's on this committee that this would go in front of? Do we know if our representative is on that committee?
I don't know that.
Because
You know
it-
that?
what the
I
committee.
do know that Brad Barker is in favor of it, because I talked to him about it, and he
Okay.
said he was in favor of it. So even if it's not his committee, when it goes up to a Senate or House vote.
But it's gotta get out of committee first.
Right,
Yeah,
It doesn't have any sponsors listed yet, so, yeah.
No.
Okay. we'll just have to keep watching.
Okay.
Yeah, but Northern Plains they do a legislative, roundup every week. And so, it's very helpful,
Mm-hmm.
action alerts.
Yep.
Right, anyway.
and I think our Clean Energy Task Force is going to be a sponsor for it, is promoting it, for sure, was one of the things that came before the board.
So, if it's approved, or it goes through and it gets signed, and then the community wants to do it, we have to have a site for a large array of solar panels, or,
Some group of people has to figure it out.
I think that's
Yes.
something that you've got, that whatever group comes together,
okay,
that's going to be their responsibility.
okay.
Whether it's a city thing or just a
It could be
group.
rooftop.
Community.
Yeah, or just a community, yeah. It could be a bunch of different rooftops. It
Okay.
could be a certain site.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I know other communities that are on co-ops have done, a site not like Veracruz Electric on a different site.
Mhm.
And they've had their own, solar array, and someone, you know, has donated the land or
Right.
given the land for it to do it. It's whatever works for your group. It's
Mhm.
not a, you know, it's not a thing, you have to do this, and this. It's
Yeah.
usually pretty.
It doesn't have to be a government agency, like, it wouldn't have to be the
No.
city or, yeah.
No,
Okay.
That's
It's a
what- that's what is
citizens
important.
initiative,
Right.
Yeah.
correct?
I think so.
Which is
Okay.
You have to, and it all depends on what this bill says.
what.
But basically, the thing is to get it out from under Northwest Energy and MDU.
Mhm.
Because their thing is, it's just too much work. We just can't do this. It's just too complicated. It's, you know, and, you know, it's not really good for you anyway. It really isn't good for our customers. What they're saying is it's really not good for our investors because you're not the person who is adding to my wealth.
How do you feel about that, Sue?
I have,
around the bush.
I am a proud member of Veracruz Electric, and so glad I
Oh,
am.
you're so fortunate, yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Because I think Northwest Energy just thinks of any way they can to screw people.
Sounds, it feels that way sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they do give out grants and they do kind of, but it's kind of like these little breadcrumbs that they string along, you know, to keep you interested and keep you going down the path thinking they're wonderful.
Yeah.
When they really aren't.
Yeah.
I mean, we've fought them in the legislature,
Oh, yeah.
every legislative session and we've tried to get community solar and net metering. Which if you happen to be unlucky enough to have solar panels and on Northwest Energy, that's not a great deal either.
No, and that's coming up this session, isn't it? The net metering, yeah.
Well, net metering comes up every session, yeah. Which means they have to pay you what you pay for electricity instead of what the wholesale rate is.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
All right, well, it
Okay,
sounds
keep
like
in
we've
touch.
got two people, you know,
Yeah.
Julie's willing to
Keep
be
in touch.
kind of a liaison.
Yeah.
Why don't you send the stuff to Julie rather than me?
Okay.
Julie.
And
I'll
then
move
she
it
can
on.
I have
dictate.
Julie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we can figure it out, but, just keep us in the loop.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I think it's exciting because, you know, it could have gone through last legislature, but there were so many bills and so much stuff. We can get it in earlier,
Yeah.
and there's a good chance of going
Yeah,
through.
if there's bipartisan support last
Yeah.
time, then it might not be
Yeah.
even a big fight.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for doing
Good,
what you
thank
do.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sue.
Thanks for coming.
And Julie, if
They
you could
weren't,
email out any updates to the sustainability board list, that would be fantastic.
Yes, I'll just send it up, out to everybody, yep. Yep. I keep looking that way, but you're there.
okay, thanks, Sue. Thanks for coming in.
You are welcome.
Okay, I've got one more thing under new business, which is, it's not on here, but, at some point, I think maybe next month, we need to look at, officers and election and the makeup of our board. And so I would like to put that on, the agenda for next month. Okay? Okay.
Okay.
Let's go back to, we're gonna go back to, old business. Review of current city solar projects. It's something we have on every time. And Alan, do you have any updates at all for this as far as, our Northwest Energy solar projects?
I do not personally have any updates on this. Thank you.
Okay, rats.
I can say.
Oh, good.
I've been working with all these contractors on this. Everything's done on both sites, the Public Works and the recycling center. In order to get our meters reprogrammed to be net metering and have it complete, we have to have the state inspector come and apply 2 stickers to the box, one for the AC side, one for the solar side.
Yeah.
And we're waiting on that.
State
Once
inspectors.
that's done, then I gotta file some paperwork with Northwest Energy, and then they'll start the process of reprogramming the meter, which I'm not sure how long that takes. With the new meters, they can do it
Yeah.
remotely, so
Oh,
it theoretically shouldn't take long. but
Good.
we'll see.
Good.
I didn't, what's today? Tuesday.
Monday.
So is there gonna be an article in the paper?
Yeah,
Alistair? I mean, Alan and you have been working on an article, so.
Yeah, I got him everything last week, and I haven't heard when he's gonna do it.
Good.
He hasn't been back to me.
Yeah, we took pictures of the solar panels on the, recycling center and the city shop.
No, that's good.
I mean, they're not very exciting pictures, but, you know,
They
it
are.
is
exciting then.
It's kind of exciting.
I think they're exciting.
And-
I think they look great.
I thought they were wonderful.
So anyway, make sure you, get a paper. So that
Okay.
article should be coming out real soon.
Okay.
So thanks for initiating that, Alan. That's awesome.
Thanks, and
You're welcome.
great job, Mike, in Public Works. And Corey, could you maybe save me a paper copy of the newspaper if you come across it?
Sure,
Thanks.
sure.
So nothing about the library, you know,
No, we won't hear on that for quite a while.
okay. But it's in,
I think those awards come out in, Alan probably knows, but I think it's like late summer.
okay.
Those awards come out.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
Yes, Mayor, Mayor Dave?
What did you find out on the solar up at the sewer plant? Was there, my understanding, wasn't there an issue we were trying to figure out if it was working, not
Figured out
working?
yet.
Pardon?
I still haven't got it figured out yet. I haven't had time to sit down and, I have to dig through. I did get, Lonnie set me up where I can go into Northwest Energy online and look at all of our billing over time, is what it appeared. So, when I came here last year, the solar panel at the sewer plant wasn't working. It had been working.
At the wastewater treatment plant. Yeah.
Yeah, right, at the wastewater treatment plant. And so I got digging in there, and it had faulted out back in July of '23. So it hadn't run, and we didn't get it fixed. It took me a while to get some parts and get them in there. It was like June, I think, we got it fixed, and it was running. It was producing power. And then just looking at the claims and stuff, bill went up.
Oh,
So I need to go back, and the other thing that's happening at the same time is we're running our blowers more. I need to go back and kind of look at everything, and I've talked to Northwest Energy about it. I've talked to solar guys about it.
We just want to make sure they're not charging us for the power that we're putting in.
All I've ever heard is that, even from everyone I've talked to, that it's not ever been quite right since it was put in. And on my list of things is to dig into that and see if there really was any increase in, right on those dates of when it came back live, and if it's consistent. I can look back at the old bills.
Sure.
But I just,
Okay.
it's on my list. But it's probably down here.
Yeah, that's a challenge. We had to do that and compare the bills to the numbers on the,
Yeah,
but
and it's gonna take a while to figure it out, and then,
you'll need time.
and then, at some point, I do wanna get, and I just haven't, I'm gonna maybe contact the state team solar, so I haven't talked to them. To see if I can hire them for a day to come out and go through this and make sure because it ties in. I'm not sure how it all works, because I don't know if we're using all the power, never goes back to the meter. But according to the readout, it's producing a lot of power in the summer. I would expect our bills to go down, but I got a feeling but I was told that in the beginning, for like the first 6 or 8 months, there was an issue with it where it was making the meter spin more. And that was supposedly rectified, and the city was was given back some money by Northwest Energy, so that was a real issue.
So there's
Yeah.
a suspicion.
I'm just not sure anybody ever figured out exactly what was causing that, whether it was actually fixed.
So it may be that it's charging us more money because we're
I don't
feeding the
know.
grid.
I mean, there's enough,
man.
there's enough in my mind that makes me wanna look at it hard, to make sure that that's not happening.
Right,
Yeah.
And-
right.
And I don't suspect it is, but there's enough
But the evidence points that way.
that I wanna look hard.
Yeah.
That's why it's in my list.
And those panels are probably as old as the fire department panels, I would think.
Yeah, they're 2010, I think it was, I just put it all together for the paper. I should have, I'll email you guys a copy. I emailed one to
Okay.
Alan, he's got it.
Okay.
I just kind of summarized all the solar projects that I was aware of, the library, sewer plant, pool, and just kind of put it all together
Sure.
in one piece of paper.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The cost on the sewer plant panels was kind of hard to tease out, because that was part of a project that also included, some work on the actual sewer plant too. So the money, it was all together in the budget. So, I'll give you a copy of that.
Okay.
I think it was 2010, maybe.
Yeah. I
Can't remember off the top of my head.
yeah.
It's been a long week.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll put it on the agenda as just kind of a checkup
Yeah.
for February. Okay, great, thanks. Anybody else? Solar projects? Okay, let's move on to Arbor Day grant status. I believe, I just keep this on there because it seems to me that, we initiated this Arbor Day thing last year and worked in conjunction with the Parks Board. Thank you very much. Roger and Mary Dell from the Parks Board. And, has another grant been written?
Yeah, we put in 2 grants with the PNRC,
Okay.
for a project. One is a grant, IRA grant that, is a no match and has a pretty high limit. So that was the Cadillac project. I think it came in at like $40,000. I feel like we're pretty competitive for that one. We'll see, the awards are, she said by the end of February, so probably March we'll see something.
Isn't that tree removal? Is that the tree?
Yeah, it's a removal and replanting
Okay.
and some pruning all kind of all together to make it competitive. The other grant was, their project development grant. It only will fund up to $20,000, so we did a lot of in-kind match on that one. Basically the same project. So I think out of those, I think we'll get something there. I talked to the Arbor Day gal, Shannon, told her what we're doing, and she thought it was great. And basically what she asked me to do was wait and see how we do on these, and then if we end up with a shortfall, they don't really have a deadline for their money, that, if we end up like we get the smaller grant, we could go back to them and try and get some infill on that. I still have to paperwork for our Tree City status, and it has to go through, ironically, like 4 different levels of review. We're on the last level right now, and I haven't heard anything on that. Once that has been issued, which it will, then there's another little grant we can get from the PNRC. It's a tree planting grant. We'll give you $850 if you have your Tree City status. So once that comes in, we'll put in for that little pot of money too. And I think that's about it on trees.
That's a lot.
So, is the Parks Board planning an Arbor Day type of celebration? Because we kind of moved from Earth Day to Arbor Day.
You guys were talking about combining them, Maria.
Yeah, we had that discussion at our last meeting, with the idea, because they're both,
Nice and loud so Alan can hear you and
Alan
Deb
can
can
hear
hear
me.
you.
Or you can come up closer to the speaker. Okay. Probably do that.
He's used to sitting.
This is Roger
Yes.
Mallendorf from the Parks Board.
It's warm in
I know.
here. We did, discuss the idea of combining the two events, at our last, meeting. I think we need to put that on our agenda to really kind of, you know, make sure that we have a decision made on that for our next meeting. But, you know, nationally, they're both held in the same month and actually within the same week.
Yeah.
And it makes kind of sense if you're gonna have two, what would be, environmental type of
Right.
celebrations, you might as well combine them at the same week, the same month of the year. Although Arbor Day does have the flexibility that you can really kind of celebrate Arbor Day any day of the year if you like. So anyhow, we have an individual who was not at our last meeting that we need to contact who kind of helped Mike a lot with the last year's celebration, that we hope that she'll take this on herself and volunteer to do that again. Kind of scaled down a little bit, I think, Mike, aren't we talking about as far as public involvement?
Yeah, I think it'll be the same kind of event, probably about the same weekend, just because of weather conditions. Yeah, just a scaled down version, same thing. I think we will try and incorporate, I haven't talked to him yet, but the contractor that I got a bid from and will be utilizing is a ASI, or whatever, ISA certified arborist, and may try and get him to just like do a 45-minute pruning clinic as part of that thing too, just because, I think it's a good idea, and, it really helps us, I think, score with those DNRC grants we have. They love it if you can say certified arborist, and they love it if you can say workshop.
Oh, and that'll be good for but that'd be good for the whole celebration. Earth Day had kind of gotten a little diffuse, not as much, you know. I think it'd be fun to have workshops. That'd be cool.
Maybe a little 45-minute workshop for people that want to
Yeah.
do that afterwards.
Mhm.
It'd be the same as last year, a little bit more spread out, because we're gonna be planning back where we're removing trees. But it'd be the same situation. We go dig the holes first and have everything right there, so people
Perfect.
just show up and.
Yeah,
That's where the workshop comes in.
that was a good event.
And that was, I think, if I remember, right, we did it June 14th last year, so we'd be looking at probably the third,
15th, I think.
the third week of June.
Fewer trees this year.
Fewer trees.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear about the pruning, seminar, because if you walk around town and see how people prune trees around here, I think that type of educational seminar is pretty important in Red Lodge.
Yeah. Well, we certainly can't do, an Earth Day during Earth Day celebration, because that's in April, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
snowy here, so
Yeah,
that's why we always kind of moved it, and so.
yep.
Well, would you
Oh, good.
just let us know, how the Sustainability Board can
Sure.
support this?
And we have a great liaison.
What we can do? Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So let us know how we can be helpful,
Okay, very good, thank you.
okay?
Appreciate that.
Awesome. Let's move on to reusable bag committee update.
An update, we were going to meet at the shed this afternoon and get the bags and get them all stuffed and brought over, but it's a little cold, so we'll do another day.
Okay.
And we're still planning to, hand them out at IGA.
Mhm.
And IGA, as we heard last time,
Mm-hmm.
is also, got some bags coming, I guess,
Yeah.
and we're still hoping to hear from,
And
Republic.
he's interested in our dates. When I have a date, I'll tell him, and he says he'll get them here before our date, so
Oh,
we'll see. We'll keep trying.
You'll have to be after him.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, stay after him. Okay, thanks. Recycling center update. What's going on there? And, we do have,
It's gonna be closed for a week in February. I'll tell you that.
how come?
I was going to Hawaii.
Oh,
good.
good.
Yeah. Rascal.
Great.
who's gonna keep his dog?
Dog puppy.
The 3rd through the 10th.
Okay. 3rd through 10th, okay.
So is Ann still working there?
I was just gonna add that update. So the city has a policy against employees being on council.
Oh.
And so she stepped back from her role there. She's still down there, but as a volunteer.
Oh, okay.
So she's not in a paid position anymore.
Okay.
I anticipate, I think
Okay.
she's, the draft I saw, I think has her on Public Works as far as standing committee. So there'll be an involvement there. And then, we've kind of had an ongoing conversation, talked with Mike, we've talked with Ryan about as we rebid our solid waste this year, seeing if we can work recycling into that conversation. When we switched the billing last year to be monthly billing as a utility as opposed to on our taxes, one of the things that was gonna give us the ability to do, was look at kind of some piecemeal pricing, either people aren't paying when they're not here, having conversations about how can we incorporate recycling into that, whether that be curbside, whether it be, small cans, big cans. So there's all sorts of things that we've done the prep work to be part of the discussions, but those discussions have not begun yet.
Oh, so prior, they're paying, Republic got paid through people's taxes. So.
Anywhere from 6 to 11 months after the service occurred.
Right, right,
And,
So-
and it was just, if you had a door, you had a trash can, you had a bill.
right. Isn't that the case still with the monthly bill?
It is, but we've opened up the possibility of approaching it differently.
Okay.
So there, for instance, there may be a different cost if you have a big can versus a small can.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, more flexibility.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of the examples
Yeah.
that came up as a flexibility.
Yeah, okay.
So this is, these are a couple of articles, one's from, the weekend, 22, and one's from, 24, but plastic, it's always an issue. So I said I would copy these for everybody for this, week. I don't really want to spend much time with it because it's too depressing. But, anyway, read that at your leisure and, you know, maybe at some point, this can be looked at, okay?
Yeah, I heard on a podcast or something that like, we are digesting like a credit card's worth of plastic in a month. I'm like, like gross.
Can't be healthy.
Well, Coca-Cola in a plastic bottle, I mean, it has acid in it, or it did,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, of course you're getting plastic.
Okay, we're gonna move on, CPACE status, this came up before the council.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah. Do you want me to give an update on that?
Please.
So two parts. The first part is the resolution that they had given us. There was a couple of questions and concerns that council had when we went back. I don't know if their process changed or if we got bad information the first time, but it's actually a two-step process. There is a resolution of intent,
Right.
which will be up for action at the next
Okay.
council meeting. That does reflect the changes, and then there needs to be two public hearings and then the acceptance of that. So that's the first part. So that's proceeding forward. And then the only other thing is we had a request from the county, that we give them a heads up. So the Blackwater that we use for the accounting system, we need to find out, what their request was, don't just drop us in our lap at the last minute and we have to go out and buy a module and there's no financial, not in the budget or anything, so.
Right.
And they had also, recommended in other meetings.
The county?
The county, was a concern, and it was interesting, because it's kind of the same thing as what came up with the fire system. So the CPACE is of course getting the green systems in there, but they had raised a question, and it was, I think it was just a question, didn't get an issue, is, does that include the legacy systems also as part of it? Because, you know, something like our fire station, our batteries are dead. Does that mean we can't get the doors open to go fight fires anymore? So, you know, you have to make sure you have a system in place that can still address what the needs are. So it's very often an in tandem implementation. So
Yeah.
they just kind of raised that awareness of, given our environment, that's definitely still needs to be part of the plan. But I don't think the CPACE dollar program addresses that at all.
No, I think it should.
So, you said that, you talked about the resolution of intent being part one, what was that? I wasn't clear what part two was.
When we actually approve it.
Okay,
So, and
Do a public hearing.
both of those resolutions are written. They are doing the updates to the second one. They didn't have it initially, but we put that back on the agenda for the next meeting for the resolution of intent. And then there'll be some public hearings, and dates. So it's still gonna take a couple of months.
Yeah.
But I do not see any resistance in the process.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next one is the city's bear awareness issue. We kind of talked about this before. It's kind of a recycling thing and a Republic thing with the garbage cans. I'm pleased to, to tell you that, the Beartooth Front Community Forum has, is now in contact with, Fish and Wildlife. And, this particular, organization is looking at having this be a spring forum.
That'd be good.
So that, and what this organization does, in case you don't know, is they just provide the arena, and then Fish and Wildlife will probably come in and do all the information and everything, and, hopefully take it from there. So, anyway, it's, it might be off, it's kind of still in the background because we're dealing with Republic and bear-resistant cans and people, but, bear-resistant people, but at least, I think, it's gonna get a wider audience at this point.
Sounds
Okay?
fair. Yeah, we met with them the first of last year with Fish and Wildlife, and Mike is actually the city's designated bear person with that. But if you talk to them, there were a couple of things that we kind of became aware of after the fact, and so if you get a chance to remind him that he's part of that, there were things that happened that,
Remind Mike?
no,
sitting right here?
Mike didn't know about it. I didn't know about it.
Yeah, well, I think, when I talked to him since, he's just a little, I think he wants the community kind of,
Who's he?
the bear guy, Chad, is that, can't remember.
There's a new bear guy. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's the new bear guy.
Yeah.
But he just, I think when he first had this conversation about having this bear committee, and he kind of got it going, and there was a little bit of energy behind it, and then he got busy, and then nothing really happened, and he's kind of waiting, I think, for something to just congeal automatically in Red Lodge, and I told him, I said, that's not gonna happen, he's gotta be the leader.
Actually, after the forum
I
might
said, I think the people will,
Yeah.
will get involved.
And I think the
Everybody
forum
gets
forum will help that.
But,
Yeah.
he needs to, he needs to jump out and lead.
Well, absolutely, and what's your job? What's your role?
Well, like, when I came here, I used to have his job a long time ago, 25.
You were their guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
So
great.
he contacted me and said, well, would you be on this committee? And I said, yeah, I'll be on the committee for the
Okay.
city. But the committee never came together. We haven't had any,
No.
we've never had one get together, so.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll be contacting you
I
as.
think if you wanted to start a bear committee,
No,
he would love that. I'm not gonna start.
No,
I'll
we're
be on
hoping
one.
that this will come out of this forum.
There might be someone there that would.
Yeah, somebody's gonna get fired
Or a
up.
group of people, yeah.
In fact,
Which happens.
you know, at the annual meeting, there were a bunch of Fish and Wildlife people there, and, there were 3 or 4 of them, 3, which I think is a bunch, pretty good. And then one woman who was just excited about it. So I think there's energy there. So we'll see.
Well, we've had an issue in our neighborhood where we put our dumpsters out on Monday and they don't get picked up until Wednesday, which in the winter, that's not so bad. But, people's cans are open, they put trash beside their cans. That could be an issue in the summer if Republic can't do what
And
they're
that's something that
supposed
the
to
mayor
do.
and the people here, at City Hall, if you have an issue with Republic, you need to contact, City Hall.
Yeah,
And we will be looking at
And that is
performance
something-
clauses and
yeah.
stuff this time around too.
Yeah.
the mayor's had that issue as well, not getting your trash picked
The,
timely way.
yeah, I have on occasion, but
Well, it's been like,
hopefully I'm invisible. They don't, the last thing I wanna see is them drive in and pick up one
Right.
trash can and leave.
Exactly. The other question I have is, they now have the arm that comes out, and then people are putting extra bags.
The Red Lodge people do?
They have-
The
they have-
Republic
they have
does?
one
They don't
truck.
have it here.
Yeah,
Oh,
they do.
yeah.
I haven't seen it.
It doesn't go everywhere, but it does hit the west bench.
Oh, okay.
And so if you put a trash bag beside your dumpster,
Your
do they have-
SOL.
do they
They,
have
they're
to-
not grabbing that?
Okay,
Oh, my understanding is they were.
I just
so.
wondered if they are.
I think they do, they just have to
Okay.
get out that time.
I think
Okay.
they are.
Oh.
Yeah,
Which is,
because that's part of our
Oh, wow.
contract is you're allowed up to, and I think that's supposed to be like green,
oh, okay,
lawn waste and stuff, but
okay. Oh, I'm sure.
not bear food.
I'm
Okay.
sure it's not just green waste. I think people are,
Yeah, I don't think it's green waste. I'm
No.
just saying.
it looks like garbage. to me.
Extra garbage, overflow.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's
Oh, well.
something that,
Yeah.
the mayor and
We
Mike
have
can
it on
figure
our
out when they negotiate that contract. Okay?
Okay.
One more thing, who, and this is not, again, on the agenda on older business, but who is, do you have a council rep for sustainability?
There will be as of next Tuesday.
Oh, okay,
So,
Okay, not yet.
we have it on the agenda.
okay.
I had thought about, has Chelsea been coming to these? Was that?
Well,
She came to a few, uh-huh.
Yeah. But she really has not been able to make them. I think the timing is not good for her, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I had thought about reaching out to Ann and having Ann come here, but then I didn't want to overstep my bounds, so council will decide that on Tuesday.
Okay.
And if I were a betting man, I would bet she's going to volunteer and say she'd like to be that rep.
Be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Be great to work with her.
Nice to have someone.
Okay? She
Yeah.
would certainly, be a good contributor. Okay. I don't have anything else on the agenda. Anybody have anything else?
No.
We're at an hour. We don't go over an hour.
Good
That's
job,
great. Well done.
Let's adjourn this.
Well done. And a lot to catch up.